Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler. I got a big show planned tonight. Now, I'm supposed to have a guest here come into the program, a Cavarius Tears. That's why I've got my orange tie on. We have a World Series going on now. It's College World Series. Now, I believe it was delayed last time I checked. But I'm waiting for him to pop up on my screen. I just sent him the. There he is. Okay, good deal. All right. Well, I'm also going to get into guys the playoffs, the new hires, Scottie Pippen talk, early coaches on the hot seat before the college football season begins. But now that I've got Cavarius Tears on. I see him in my studio. I'm going to bring him on the program right now. Hey, Cavarius.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. Hey, man, that sounds great. You know, a lot of times I have to tell people to step into the mic, and I don't know where you're at, but it's a good echo in there. Good stuff, my friend. I appreciate you taking time to spend with me. As you can see, I've got my orange tie on. University. Now, so your mother tells me, by the way, Alicia's great. I mean, she's one of the most respected managers in all of Vanderbilt. I know she's very modest, but she's highly respected. I mean, even her boss, Tom, I'm a carrier. I drive from Nashville to Wilson County to Williamson County, and she's the most respectful. I just wanted to pay homage to Alicia for that. Now, you are from Columbia Academy. Now, you're committed to play Tennessee for Tennessee baseball. Have you signed a letter of intent yet?
Yes, sir, I have. I'm actually here right now. I just moved in this Saturday.
Oh, man. Okay, now let me ask you this. I'm a little bit ahead on my interview, but have you gotten a roommate yet?
Yes, sir, I have 3 of them.
You have 3. Do you know these guys?
Yes, sir. I've played travel ball with them since I was about 12.
Oh, okay. The reason why I say that is that was my biggest issue. I graduated Austin P, much lower level. But, man, this roommate, he was a night person. I was a day person. I always tell everybody getting through that first year of college is really just getting used to your roommates.
Oh, yeah.
But I almost killed my roommate the first year. But check this out. I got a private room the next year. I hung out with that guy the remaining 3 years. We were good friends. And so you're already ahead of the game. Okay, let's rewind the tape a little bit. All right, so when did you first start playing baseball?
I'd say probably when I was 4 or 5 was as early as I can remember playing baseball for an organization or anything.
Okay. So what drove you to love baseball? I mean, you know, there's so many other sports out there. You know, baseball's kind of taken a hit lately, but I noticed y'all live somewhat out of the city in the country. There's more fields there. I'm from the city. I was born and raised in Nashville, lived in the inner city area. We were all into basketball. Not a lot of good fields up here. Down in the Columbia area, totally different. Hole in wall, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Different situations. So what drove you to stay with it where you wanted to talk your parents into taking you back?
Well, for a long time it was football. Football was always my favorite sport I wanted to play for the longest. But as I got older, I started to realize I'm kind of probably a little bit better at baseball than I am football. So it was mainly just learning all the little things about the game, understand how it's played, the mental side of it. And once I kind of started to learn that, I kind of fell in love with baseball more than football.
Nice. Now, I'll talk to Alicia, your mom, about this. Now, she says that you got an injury and she wasn't having it when you playing football. What happened there?
Well, I played my whole life, but I committed to Tennessee my freshman year. And I continued to play football, but my sophomore year, I tore my labrum in the very first game of the season. And I kept playing on it. I went and got a massage. And the woman was looking at my shoulder, and she was like, something's off about your arm. I'd felt the pain, but I was still able to throw the ball during the games. But I ended up going to get an MRI, and they found out it was a torn labrum. So right after that, my mom, she was like, "Yep, your football's over
So
with."
you played football in high school? You played football at high school level?
Yes, sir. I played for 2 years.
Oh, wow. And you had a scholarship offered to Tennessee in football?
For baseball.
Oh, baseball. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Well, I thought she had pulled you out before that. That's interesting. That's why I like to get these questions and trying to put your stories together. We got a lot going on. I was talking to her in her lab. I'm picking up a whole lot of blood work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I want to get that clarification from you. Did you have a moment that came to you that you tell yourself, okay, I can play this at the collegiate level. I may be a potential Major League Baseball prospect. Was it a series of plays throughout the years? Was it a catch, a base hit, a home run? Was it just a moment that you had where you think, okay, this could be something special?
Well, it was mainly, as you grow up, you play sports, other parents telling you your son's pretty good. But it was a couple times where some higher up people or well-respected people in the game of baseball kind of told me or my parents that, I'm really good and that I could, possibly play at the next level. That's when I just started taking it to a different level, started training for that and working harder on that than I was any other sport.
Nice. Now, let me ask you this. Lisa keeps telling me about these camps you're going to. Now,
Mm-hmm.
are Major League Baseball? She said something about the Astros and the Padres. Tell me about these camps.
I'd say about a month ago, maybe I went to a Padres pre-draft workout. So they kind of wanted to get more looks on me as a potential prospect for the draft. And then while I was in Ohio, I ended up going to an Astros pre-draft workout. It's kind of the same thing. Kind of wanted the same information, get to know me a little bit.
Okay. Is there any other kind of camps you go to during the summer? It's for baseball camps?
Not really. Every once in a while, I'll try to go to a perfect game camp or showcase. If I think that it'd be very beneficial for me. But besides that, no, sir, not really.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. She's telling me. Okay, now Carlos is a friend of mine I went to college with. I've graduated in 2006. I met him 19 years ago. He's asking me, why are you choosing college over pro?
I haven't officially decided yet. I'm still able to move in, start summer school, and still be eligible for the draft. But it kind of all depends on, how the chips fall. That'll depend on what decision I'll finally make or I'll end up making in the end.
Okay. And I want to be clear with my audience. Now, you've hit 466 this past year. Would you have 10 home runs? And she said something about a hand injury.
Yeah,
Somebody dinged you.
I got a hit in the hand, hyperextended at my thumb, and I got a jammed finger too.
Okay. Now, she said that there was some indication that may have been intentional.
Yeah, I don't exactly know the reasons why, but for some reasons, there's one specific team we played a couple times. I would say they wanted to pull some dirty tricks at me, throw the ball at me.
Was this a rival school or is this something in a random tournament? How had to happen? What happened there?
It's turned into a rivalry for my school and their school now, because we hadn't really played them too much in the past, but it turned into a rivalry this year.
Did your guys hit their guy afterwards?
I don't know. Luckily, both times they threw at me, I was pitching, but I just tried to keep my composure and just keep playing. Because I'm not much of a dirty player, and I didn't want to show that I could or would even try to attempt to do something like that.
Amen. That's good, man. You sound well-rounded. Now, what position are you being recruited? I know you pitch. You play first base, right field, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The Tennessee from what I've been told, they're looking at me to play outfield and first base.
Okay.
Draft-wise, I guess you'd be the exact same.
Okay. Yeah, Mom was a pretty hard critic. She's like, I don't think he's fast enough to do center field. She is really tough, man.
Oh yeah, she's always
My
been
mom
tough
would
on
never
me.
say that, but I know that she's honest about everything,
Oh yeah.
man. So no pitching. They haven't looked at you as a pitcher.
Well, no. Once I tore my labrum, my physical therapist probably said it wasn't really a good idea to pitch at the next level, but he did say that pitching in high school would be fine.
Awesome, man. That is all. Now let me ask you, who do you model your game? And that could just be several players. Who do you model your game after?
I'd always say it was Cody Bellinger. My hitting instructor, he kind of showed me a video of him right before he got called up when he was in, I want to say AA. And he showed me kind of his swing and kind of his mechanics. And I had similar mechanics. We played the same positions. We're both left-handed. So I kind of, started following after him, kind of realized that we kind of have the similar stereotypes.
Do you study the greats of the past?
Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan of Ken Griffey Jr.
You got a similar stance to Griffey. I love it, man. I love that. Yeah. And Carlos is a friend of mine. He went to Tennessee for a little while. He's asking me, what is the hardest ball for you to hit, pitch-wise?
I would say probably the changeup, which is
really
probably one of the hardest pitches to hit for just about anybody, I would say, especially if it's a really good one. Because it looks like a fastball, and at the last second it just kind of dives away from you down the ground. So that's probably the hardest pitch to hit.
I always thought it would be the curveball.
No, that one's most of the time that one's you can kind of see that one coming, kind of see the spin.
Okay.
The way it rotates and coming at the plate. But a lot of times the changeup looks identical to a fastball.
Oh wow. Yeah. And Carlos, my friend, is saying Tony Gwynn. So Ken Griffey with the stance. Now you're kind of built like, I don't know how far you look back, or your dad or whatnot, but you're kind of built like a guy named Ron Gant. Used to play for the Braves. But I noticed you hit for. Are you a power hitter or average hitter? I mean, you hit 466 last year.
I would say probably balance. I can hit for average, but I can hit for power. But I would say I would just let my power play. Just try to get hits. A lot of times the power go by itself.
Yeah. And then I was thinking to myself, you put Ron Gant together with a Ken Griffey Jr. type, you get Frank Thomas, and then he was the first baseball player I know to have a shoe line, the big Hertz. Man, I tell you, it looks like you guys are going to do really well. Now I'm hearing that this what is his name, Tony Vitello?
Yes, sir.
There's rumors that Tennessee's trying to make him the highest paid manager and all manager, coach, whatever. I guess it's still called coach at the collegiate level.
Yes, sir.
In all of college baseball, they went to the World Series first time since 2005. You could be the piece to get them over the top. Are you feeling any pressure right now? Any anxiety?
No, I don't really. I mean, my parents get on to me about it because they kind of say I'm just let stuff happen, but I don't really feel any pressure about it. I just kind of play my game. Don't try to go outside of it, and whatever happens, happens. Yeah,
you sound like you got that real cool, calm, collective vibe about you, kind of like a Peyton Manning.
I tell people all the time, Kavarius, that
guys like you that you're pushing up on the top 1% of your profession, and if something happens where you get like a serious injury, or you play 25 years and play in the majors and make a lot of money, if you put that kind of energy that you put into baseball, into another field, no matter what happens post baseball, you'll be successful in any endeavor. Just realize that you're not going to be the top 1% when you start off.
Yes, sir.
Ask Michael Jordan. Yeah, he went from basketball to baseball. He's like, I forgot about the process. This sounds so simple, but not really. Mm-hmm. Once you get so successful at a certain level, it's hard to take advice. But I'll tell you this now before you get really big. There was a guy that played He played in the NBA for the Milwaukee Bucks. His name is Junior Bridgman. Never heard of this guy. He owns 41 Wendy's in the Nashville, Middle Tennessee area. Wow. And he's doing really well. He's good friends with Chauncey Billups. I don't know how much basketball you watch.
Oh, yeah, I know Chauncey Billups.
Yeah, just took over for the Portland Trailblazers as a head coach. He was a great NBA player. Well, he's also into the franchise thing too. So if you keep that mindset, man, sky's the limit, my friend. I mean, anything is possible. Yes, now, sir. Before I let you go, I had a conversation with Alicia yesterday, and this is blowing my mind, that there's something in the water there. In Colombia, for one thing, you've got Shaq Mason that is from Colombia, plays for the Patriots, but your cousins with oh God, what is this guy's name? He's slipping my mind now. The linebacker there,
Dante.
Or Hightower, Dante yes, Hightower. Sir. Now, have you met Hightower?
Yes, sir. I've known him my whole life.
I just didn't know how close you were, man.
I wouldn't say we're not super close, but we both know, each other. Him and my oldest brother, they were good friends back in high school. So he would come over occasionally, eat dinner with us and hang out and stuff. But yeah, we're not the closest, but we both know that, we're related.
The reason why I say that is, now Carlos, so what's your major so far?
Right now, I'm majoring in business analytics.
Oh, nice. Analytics.
Yes, sir.
So what do you plan on doing after baseball? You want to be a manager, front desk guy? You said analytics now.
That's the good part about my majors. That one's kind of – oh, I'm sorry. I misspoke. It was business administration exploratory track. So it's kind of for – people who want to go into business, but they don't know exactly what part of the business they want to go into. So that's kind of what I'm in, because I don't exactly know what I want to do yet, but I do know I want to do something in business.
Own as much as you can. Be the boss.
Yes, sir.
Keep that bridge mind story in mind. Yeah. So Dante Hightower. Yeah, I found this out a few years ago. My grandmother died in 2012. And I was there at the funeral with my dad. Now, his half brother tells me that there's this guy that looks like my dad. He was a linebacker coach. Now he's the defensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Keith Butler. And I've never met the guy before. I know that I would like to get him on the program and interview him. But that's why I asked you that about Hightower. She said, well, that's my cousin, but, you may not even talk to him anymore.
Yes, sir.
He might be afraid you might ask him for something. I don't know. That man, give me a house. So, I'm proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to watch you guys now. Are you on Facebook?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay. I tell you what, I will attach this interview to you. I'm also going to boost this interview around the state so people in Columbia will get to see it. Memphis, Knoxville, when you go up there. So this thing's probably going to get about 10, 12,000 views. This will be good for your portfolio, man. So you're up there now. So what are you doing right now?
Right now, we're technically not allowed to use can't hit, can't work out yet, but because we don't have our physicals, but we go get that done tomorrow, and then class starts tomorrow, and then right after that we'll be straight to working out, hitting and conditioning and getting ready for the fall. Oh, nice.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it once you get that routine down, because you've already kind of got a regimen now.
Yes, sir.
It'll go by very fast, Kavaris. I'm telling you, as somebody who had a first generation college student like myself, who had to take those intermediate classes. Once I got that, and you already got half the game won now. I mean, the fact that your roommates without, you see what I'm saying? Once you guys get your regimen, this thing's like this. It'll go by fast. The whole 4 years will go by quick. It'll be fun. You may meet Mrs. Tears there. So I appreciate you taking time, and You have a good one, and I'll add you on Facebook, and I'll attach this interview.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, thanks and good luck, man.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, no problem. Okay, everybody. That was Kavarius Tears. Kavarius was and I mind you, he was a 2-time finalist for the Mr. Tennessee baseball. All right. This guy is a well of a talent. You can see how humble he is. His mom is very humble, very modest. Alicia, I want to thank you. I'm sure you'll watch this interview for having Kavarius on. He is very well spoken. Sir and me makes me feel old, but that's okay. That's what I knew. He was raised that way. And I'm really excited about this. But this guy is a world-class talent, everybody. His mom, and I wanted to ask him about Tim Corbin. I forgot that I asked him why that maybe Vanderbilt did not want to recruit him. But I'll say this. They're probably overstacked with players. Remember, this is not football. You've only got 8 starters, and you don't have a defense and everything like that. But he hit 500 as a sophomore. He hit 466 as a senior when they knew he was a star player on the team. So this guy's going to be fun to watch. He could be a Cody Bellinger type of player, a Mookie Betts type of level of player. He's got that kind of pedigree, that kind of focus, that mindset. You can tell he's got the big shoulders. He's about 6'1", 6'2", and can knock a cover off a ball. Kavarius Tears, keep that name in mind. You're going to see this guy be a star one day in the next 5 to 7 years. See him on SportsCenter, everybody. So moving right along here, in other news, Scottie Pippen. I mean, this guy, I don't even know if I want to talk about that first. That's really not. And you know what? I'm gonna go past that. Now we've got a basketball game on, everybody. Trae Young was out today, and Atlanta's up by 20 points. Now, apparently now Giannis has been helped off the court with a leg injury. And Trae Young is out. Now, and it's 87-62 Atlanta. Atlanta is like Freddy Krueger. If you watch Game 3, which I did, I actually downloaded the FanDuel app and put a few dollars on the game. $20. Lost. But they blew that lead early. It was like a 15-point lead in Game 3. And now they are Trae Young goes down. Milwaukee wins by 11. Trae Young is a game-time decision, and he is out this game. Milwaukee completely melted in. Instead of trying to take a 3-1 lead and take control of this series, they won't admit it publicly, but they checked out. And me, the only person on the planet that has picked this up, Colin didn't say nothing about it, coward. None of the other basketball people said anything about it. But I want to reiterate, these skilled players on this team, they can shoot you out of the gym, folks. So, and that's what they did. The 87-66. Now, Giannis is hurt. I don't know how bad. This is fresh off the press. Milwaukee Bucks star leaves with apparent leg injury. Well, that blows it up. I mean, the ocean is parting. I know that Phoenix lost last night. It seemed like they were pressing a little bit at home. I still like Phoenix to get there. And now with Giannis going down in Atlanta, I don't quite think that Atlanta has the firepower to beat Phoenix. They could, but statistically, points differential, defense, balance with Chris Paul playing and guiding this team. Atlanta is going to be or Phoenix should be the big favorite here. Should be. But this is the year where there's so much parity in basketball right now that anything can happen. Expect the unexpected in the NBA. The ratings are way up. It's been fun to watch. I'll tell you. Well, all this drama, all this bickering aside, all the smart comments. By the way, Jalen Rose walked that little smart comment about Kevin Love back. Says he feels like he disrespected the game, and Jason Whitlock saying it's because that it was something I said, because he's been reading me for 30 years, and Jalen Rose made some reference like 30 years. I felt like people have been covering me for 30 years, felt like I've been disrespecting the game. So that probably was true. And then on top of all that, you've got Scottie Pippen calling in an interview with Dan Patrick, calling Phil Jackson a racist with absolutely no merits whatsoever, because Phil Jackson wanted Tony Kukoc to take the last shot in that Game 3 1994 against the Knicks when Jordan wasn't there. Now, he was the hot hand that night, Scotty was, but there were other plays that were drawn up for Scottie Pippen that day. He did have the game. He was the center piece. The way that Phil Jackson, what his idea was. Now remember, John Paxson hit the big shot in 93 against Phoenix, which I'll come back to here in a second. Steve Kerr hit the big shot. Was it 97? Hit the big shot and 97. Yeah, see, you're not, if you're white, you're not supposed to use the word posse. Well, I can say whatever I want to. That's not off. I don't think using LeBron and his posse term. I do not, as that Carlos says, that Phil Jackson was also called a racist by LeBron. That's probably where Scotty got that crap from. See, he's not supposed to say that. Now, if Doc Rivers says that, that's no big deal. But Phil Jackson says it, that's a problem. So what Phil Jackson wanted to do is get the open shot to the guy that was going to be open. He knew that Pippen was going to they were going to crash on Pippen. Colin Cowherd said he had multiple plays drawn up for him in that game prior to that. And for the record, Kukoc hit the shot, won the game in 94. So there's a back and forth with Dan Patrick, which I listened to about 3 times with Scottie Pippen. And Jordan says, going back to the Steve Kerr 97 shot, Jordan says, yeah, Steve's going to take the shot. Pippen says he was playing that up for the cameras. That play was meant for Jordan. But Patrick says, well, wasn't Jordan okay with that? He said, no, he was playing it up for the cameras. You think Jordan's going to do all that for the cameras? No, he wants to win the game. So that's total bogus. Dan Patrick interview was seeing that Pippen was getting irritated. What he could have said and should have said, what about John Paxson in 1993 against the Phoenix Suns, the big game winner there? He didn't say anything about that. Of course not. And if you want, and then Mike Dunleavy coached Scottie Pippen in the 2000 semi-quarterfinals, where he went 3 for 11 in that game. He went 3 Pippen. So the plays were drawn up for Rasheed Wallace and Steve Smith down the stretch. So now is Mike Dunleavy a racist too because you didn't get your shot? No, Scottie Pippen is what we thought he was. He's a very selfish guy. Scottie Pippen's nickname around NBA locker rooms in his inner circles called No Tipping Pippen. This guy don't tip. He don't tip wait staff. He don't tip people. So, and then he has the audacity to call Michael Jordan selfish. Well, I'm going to give him some slack there because there are a lot of professional athletes that are, air quote, selfish. Brandy Moss once said that you have to be great at something like this. You really have to have some internal internal focus in your brain, and you have to put things off. You have to put people off to become great. So in other words, you have to have a level of selfishness about you to become great at this endeavor or any endeavor to become great. And I believe what Moss said. Now, it's in football. You know, I'm always bashing NBA and always talking about the NFL. Well, Tony Romo's selfish. Tony Romo admitted, Carlos, if you're still there, that he admitted that he would call audibles inside the red zone, like the 5-yard line, so he can get the passing touchdown versus not getting any stat for giving the ball to the running back. Now, that's selfish. That is Aaron Rodgers, another example. Another guy calls audibles inside the 5-yard line to get the passing touchdown. If you look at some of the 1-yard passes to Devontae Adams, it's unbelievable, guys. It is unfreaking believable. So my point is, Phil Jackson, he also mentioned Phil Jackson and Kobe. He criticized, and I read the book. Nothing he said about Kobe Bryant in that book was not, I knew 110% it was true. You can watch it by watching the games. Kobe was an angry player. He was also a very selfish player, very hard to get through to. We later understood that as a ticked off for greatness that was Kobe Bryant. But now Kobe went back and played for Phil the next year. So if he's so selfish, why did you stay there? Why did you go back to Pippen? Or if he's so racist, why did you come back there after you won that championship in 91 and sign that 7-year contract? Why didn't you? Even if the timelines don't add up, if that contract's added before 91, if this guy is a racist, you played for him for 4 years, why did you sign a 7-year contract with him? That's my question to you, Scottie Pippen. All right. Why did Kobe Bryant, who already won a championship, after the book about Kobe came out by Phil Jackson, why did he come back and play for Phil Jackson, winning more championships with the Pau Gasol? So if he's such a racist, think about the power that Kobe had, even the power that Scottie Pippen had in 90 going into 91. He had already been in the league 3.5, 4 years. You see what I'm saying? Why was this never brought up before? You know, Phil said something about LeBron. He speaks his mind. Phil also took up for Kobe Bryant during the Eagle, Colorado rape allegation because he spoke up. He thinking that there may be some racial undertones about that with the woman that was accused. So there's more proof that Pippen's full of crap than it is that Phil Jackson. I'm not a big Phil Jackson guy. I know he's an arrogant guy. I know that he smarted off to Jerry West when West wanted to talk to everybody right after a game, and then he was going to, let Phil talk to the team. He said, "Get the bleep out of here." He's an arrogant guy, but a racist. Come on, man. Pippen's just got an axe to grind with people. We know what he did not want to come in the game. He wanted to play him safe in the shape instead of having that surgery in the offseason. So Pippen's coming out as a guy that really people don't really want to be around. You know, he's one of those type of guys. He's a great player, and now I've as a manager and a supervisor on my other job, I've had Scottie Pippens, had guys that I didn't really like being around, didn't really like them, and manage them, but I kept them around. You know why? Certain guys, one particular one, they were really good workers. They were really good at what they did. That's what Scottie Pippen was. He was really good, excellent defender. He was a big clock, and Jordan gave him all the credit in the world. I couldn't have did it without Pippen, you know. In game 2, when Pippen was put on Magic, everything changed in that 91 finals. They won 4 straight. They got their first ring. He completely slowed down Magic enough where the Bulls could cut it in overdrive. So he was a great player. I don't feel sorry for a guy who's made over $109 million. He last played his game in NBA. He played semi-pro for a few years, but his last NBA year was in 2003, 2004, and he had cleared over $109 million. So for the guy that is nicknamed No Tippin' Pippen, I have no empathy for a Scottie Pippen. Now, as far as these new coaching hires are concerned, there's a big buzz going on about the Portland Trailblazers. Okay, so Chauncey Billups was hired as the new coach. I said I liked that potential hire last week. I still stand by that. Guy was an excellent, good. I think that if I had to pick a position of a former player, I would pick a good point guard, like a Jason Kidd. Now I'll get to that hire in a minute. Like a Chauncey Billups, been an assistant with this Clippers team that will not die. Very fundamentally sound team here. So Lillard wanted Kidd to get the job. I think, and now Lillard said something about this, which I think was totally out of bounds, about this 1997 sexual assault accusation against Chauncey Billups his rookie year. Guys, that was 24 years ago. I can't believe. And then reporters started asking in today's press conference about that allegation. And of course, the general manager did what he should have and completely shut that down. He shut that down and said, we totally believe what Chauncey's done. And, guy's been assistant coach for years. He played for several years, won a ring, went to the finals, and hasn't had anything come up about that. I thought that was really Bush League for that to even be brought up in any circles 24 years later with this allegation here. It sounds like that Lillard is looking for an excuse to break out of Portland. Now, he's been there 9 years. He shouldn't have to have a lame excuse. If he feels like they cannot bring in the players, go ahead and request a trade now. You can get a lot for him right now. Would I try to, if I'm Philadelphia? Yes, I'll offer Ben Simmons for Lillard, but I know it's not going to be the same as a CJ McCollum. You're going to have to probably add a Seth Curry in there. You're probably going to have a few draft picks in there. I understand that, but you also got a player that's 31 years old, and you're trading for a much younger player that needs a change of scenery. A smaller town would help a guy who has, and a sports psychologist would really help a Ben Simmons. And for God's sake, man, wouldn't he be great with this team, with the new team? Wouldn't Damian Lillard be great with a Philadelphia team with Tobias Harris and obviously Joel Embiid? And of course, Carlos wants him to come to the Knicks. Possibly. I mean, if you look at the Knicks now and you look how good, again, this Atlanta team that is playing, I'll tell you, 99 to 78, and Giannis is hurt. I mean, that's just, And of course, Lou Williams, 21 points, 7 for 9, Lou Williams. I mean, that's just, and that's what I said. That's why I'm the best. You're only going to get that here. I know how good Lou Williams can shoot the ball. I knew one of those games were going to happen. But this team they're going to push. This is 2-2. Now, if Giannis is out, this is anybody's game. The Atlanta Hawks can get to the NBA Finals this year. And a deep bone bruise, that's a bone bruise. Maybe Trae Young comes back. So I thought that was interesting. Now, the Jason Kidd thing, I understand the criticisms there. He can play point forward nowadays, Carlos. 6'8", Magic Johnson played point guard. LeBron can play point guard. So I don't know. I think he could definitely do a new thing. Now, this Jason Kidd thing, I know there's a lot of criticisms about this. I'll say this. Now, he's been an assistant for the Lakers for 2 years. He wasn't ready for that net job. I think he would probably admit that privately. He may admit it publicly. I don't know. But Kidd he was fresh off being a player. And he was the Chris Paul of his time. Every team he went to as a player, they got better. The Nets, when he was a player with the Nets, Carlos, you remember this. Before he got there, they were dreadful. But when he got there, they got to the finals. They just happened to run into a great Laker team. He wasn't ready to be head coach there. They fired him. Things didn't work out in Milwaukee. The expectations are getting higher and higher. That didn't work out. Now, he's been an assistant for 2 years. I still think this is probably going to be a good hire. He's coming back to Dallas, where he started at, the team that drafted him. He's going to work with Luka. They've hired this Nike executive to work with Kidd. So I think they'll be more fluent offensively. Again, he's younger, closer to the player's age. Remember Rick Carlisle, I said that a lot of the players do not like to play for a guy who calls a play every single possession like a Rick Carlisle. Now, we'll find out if with the backup experience, with the 2 early firings, we'll find out if Jason Kidd is head coaching material. Now, the idea of the next 3 years is to get another free agent. This will attract more players because, and these guys could be in line to get a potential Kawhi Leonard. They could get a Simmons or somebody like that. That was part of the deal. So the expectation from Mark Cuban down with this Dallas team is to make it past the second round, is to get better seeding coming into the playoffs so you're not playing these tougher opponents right off the bat. You're in win now mode with Luka Doncic. I get it. So the standards are going to be pretty high. I would say 3 years, and if they're not making a NBA final push or a championship push within 3 years or less, then Kidd will be gone, and they'll have to go after another coach, and then there may be a Luka wanting to get out of Dallas. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that they're going to push forward. They're going to improve in other aspects. They need a little bit better defensively. I'd like to see them get a Mike Woodson as an assistant, somebody like that. That's just an example to help this team out defensively. But offensively, the fast break, that's going to be much better from Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle needs a change of scenery. I think he'll be a good fit there in Indiana, working with those players. Again, he went past the 10-year rule. And I think that him calling those plays, I think that was too much there. That's too slowing down. That's too much micromanagement. Okay, switching gears. Okay. Okay. we got college football coming up, and I think 11 weeks the NFL will be here. So 10 weeks from Thursday, we will have college football. Okay, I'm going to give you guys, there was some news this week. Number one is Ed Orgeron, Carlos. Ed Orgeron was mentioned in a lawsuit. Let me look at this real quick. In a Title IX lawsuit, Ed Orgeron. Let's see. I'm looking real quick to make sure. LSU football coach, this was the other day. Ed Orgeron's involvement in a Title IX lawsuit against LSU handling of a rape and domestic abuse has intensified, according to amended class action complaint related to the Title IX lawsuit filed back in April. What does this mean? I always like to look at it from a AD, an institutional perspective, from a general, I'm using pro terms, but from college terms, from the powers to be perspective. Now, I say that because, they come off of in 2019, Joe Burrow, 15-0 national championship, right? Now, after that, we all know that this guy was on the hot seat, very mediocre coach. By the way, last year without Burrow, they were 5-5. And he signed a new contract valued at $7 million per year, which keep him in Baton Rouge at least till 2026, which tells me there's 5 years left on this contract. And he's doing a mediocre job other than that one Burrow year. So my thing is, Carlos, that Ed Orgeron is going to he could be the Gene Chizik of LSU. Who is Gene Chizik? Gene Chizik is a mediocre coach that somehow, some way, found his mediocre to bad. Okay, Auburn hires him. People boo this guy at the airport, Gene Chizik, in 2010, and he lucks up and gets Cam Newton in a transfer, even though there was some shadiness going on, supposedly that Newton Newton was getting paid. Nobody never figured that out. I don't know. It was a long story. That doesn't mean the main thing. So Cam Newton comes there in 2010. A defense led by D Ford. Does that sound familiar? NFL Pro Bowler level. And a guy named Nick Fairley. He was a disappointing pro, but man, this guy was off the hook that year with Auburn. They have a magical season. Remember, they came back 21 down in the Iron Bowl, which caused this crazy guy, Alabama fan, the 60-something-year-old guy. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. He poisons these trees. It becomes a big thing. They win the national championship. And then Cam leaves and goes first-round pick overall. And then the next year, they're awful. They get blown out by the Alabama. And then the next year, they're awful again. Not even 500. I want to say if you lose 4 or 5 games coming off a national championship, you get one more year. And then you lose 4 or 5 plus again. So they fired this guy. That was what you call lightning in the bottle. This Title IX thing with Ed Orgeron, this could be an excuse, kind of like what Tennessee did when they fired this guy, this current coach, and now they hired Josh Heupel, so they won't have to pay him. It's called 4 calls. You see what I'm saying? So that is a story to keep your eye on. Now, you say, Robert, why are you breaking up Scott Frost? Well, Scott Frost is another guy that caught lightning in the bottle. He was 19-7 with 2 years at Central Florida. But his last year, lightning in the bottle, 11-0. They beat Auburn in their bowl game decisively. Didn't blow them out, but they beat them decisively. And ironically, now UCF now has Gus Malzahn, the coach of that Auburn team. But this guy is 12-20 with Nebraska coming into this season. And on top of that, there was news last week that the AD has stepped down. The athletic director for Bill Moose abruptly announces his retirement Friday, saying he will step down next week. The announcement came as a surprise because the 70-year-old Moose, M-O-O-S, has publicly said he wanted to stay in the job until he was comfortable. So now they're going to have a new GM. What does that mean? Every AD wants to make their stamp on the program. They want to hire their coach. And when you're 12-20 coming in, and you got this new AD that's wanting to prove themselves and make their mark, this could be the last year. I think he needs to win about 10 games. Ed Orgeron, pending on this investigation, this may be bad enough they just may fire him anyways. But I say he probably needs to beat an A&M and maybe push Alabama to the limit. Now, they still recruit well. He's really a recruiter. He's kind of like the guy he replaced, Les Miles, a few coaches back. He just lucked up and got this job, and he's went through a couple of offensive coordinators, Ed Orgeron. So Scott Frost, 12-20, might want to knock out Ohio. I don't know if you play Ohio. It seems like they play Ohio State every year. Now you want to knock out a Michigan, Ohio State, and we'll see how that works out. You not want to do that. Ed Orgeron, 10, 11 games, probably want to do that. Probably want to knock out an A&M. I think it seems like they play Florida every year in the East, something like that. He needs a big year. They're looking for an excuse. That's what I sense. I mean, I don't know. I don't have sources. But I'm just saying I think they're probably looking for an excuse. And they'll have that just cause if this investigation with Orgeron plays out. And again, 12-20, yeah. Remember, Nebraska was a proud program at once. They won 3 national championships with their coach in the 90s, and I can't remember who his name was. Guy done everything. Trying to see the guy that really held it down for Nebraska in the 90s. This guy was he was a hoss of a 1997. We're about to figure out who it was. Tom Osborne, one of the greatest of all time. Now he's up there with an Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer's I think he's got 3 championships. Meyer does 2, but Meyer has a higher winning percentage. Okay, in the NFL, there was some news in the NFL. Demaryius Thomas, former, I think he kind of bounced around the league, but we all know him as the Denver Broncos. Now, this guy was a true number 1. From what I'm about to say is what I'm about to say, okay? His numbers are just short of a Hall of Famer. I want to say 700-something catches. He made second-team All-Pro for 2 years. But he didn't start really doing big things until one guy came in there. He made a Pro Bowl every year from 12 to 15. As soon as he got with Peyton Manning, I mean, those numbers did really well. Got him another big contract. You just wonder what some of these players would be. They would never get these big contracts without a guy like a Peyton Manning. Now I wasn't really talking about him. My point on Thomas is if he played 10 years with Peyton, this guy's in Canton instead of the 5, right? But Peyton also played with guys like Julius Thomas. He got a big contract. Did nothing with Jacksonville. but Peyton made this guy great. Eric Decker. Eric Decker was, Carlos, I don't know if you're still on there, was mediocre to below at average, underachieving as a Jet, Eric Decker. But this guy, Peyton, Dallas Clark was a first-round pick. As soon as Peyton left the Colts, he left the Colts. He went to 2 other teams for 1 year. Never heard anything from him. I mean, the quarterback means a lot. Yeah, all of the wide receivers and in it. Yeah, they did, man. Gonzalez did. Dallas Clark, he fell off. But now I don't want to throw Demaryius Thomas in the garbage disposal, Brian, because he did get that one big catch with Tim Tebow that beat Pittsburgh in that playoff game. But I'm saying if Peyton would have came there and 5 years earlier, this guy's in Canton. He would have been very close to Reggie Wayne. He would have been very close to Marvin Harrison type of player. I just think he's a big target, just no QB. Yeah, he's a big target. Run good routes. But if you watch Julius Thomas, man, I played fantasy. Man, he didn't do nothing. I think he went to Jacksonville. Got a big, paid gets you paid, got a big contract there and didn't do nothing, but he made 2 Pro Bowls. Same with Clark, man, Dallas Clark, but Decker was the biggest one. I kept waiting for Decker to break out with the new quarterback, and it just wouldn't happen. The only receiver I thought that was, there's a few, but the one that I thought that bounced around that was consistent with just about every quarterback he had. There's a few, but Brandon Marshall was very consistent with the Bears, with Denver, other quarterbacks not named Jay Cutler. I mean, he's just, other than Miami, but everybody during that time with Miami, they go crazy. They just lose. It was like Raiders then. They just can't focus. Randy Moss couldn't focus with the Raiders. But guys like that, guys like Tim Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, I could be out there throwing him the ball. I want to say, guys, that Pittsburgh, or excuse me, Houston went through 3 quarterbacks 1 year. And Houston, DeAndre Hopkins could catch it from anybody. Now, that's an excellent receiver. That's not a good receiver. That is most of the time the receivers don't bring. It's usually the quarterback. A lot of this quarterback, DeAndre Hopkins, in his heyday, and he's still there a little bit. He's consistent with anybody and everybody he plays with. As good as the quarterback can be. I mean, it's mostly about that. So, but Thomas, great player, still pretty young. I think if he had a good quarterback and he was healthy, he may be good for another 2 years, if you ask me. But anyways, guys, that's all I got tonight. If you like the show, share the show. Brian, go back and watch the beginning of my program. I interviewed a Major League Baseball prospect. This guy is 2-time Mr. Tennessee finalist, Mr. Baseball, University of Tennessee commitment. Major league teams looking at him. Bats 466. Bats left. Reminds me a lot of Frank Thomas. Got a little bit of Frank Thomas. Got a little Kavarius Tears. He is cousins with Dante Hightower. Now, guys, that's who I'm going to try to get on this program. I'm going to try to get Dante Hightower. See, that you big things. And I might not look big, small, big time, but I'm thinking big, Brian. I want to try to get Hightower on here at some point before the summer. I'm going to ask him, what does he think about playing under Belichick and Saban? Who do he think's better? And I'm going to ask him about what his thoughts were the last year with Brady. Did he see Brady actually leaving, or did he think that Brady was pulling his leg, or retiring? What is he? So I'm going to try to get Dante Hightower, Alabama star, New England Patriot, Pro Bowl level player on this program. He's from the same area that my friend and his mother, Quavarius Tears, are from. Also from that area, Shaq Mason, the same. He's a guard for the Patriots offensive line, signed a contract extension a few years ago, won a Super Bowl, maybe two. Mason may have two, but I know he's got one. I know he won in 18 with the Rams. So I'm trying to get some of these guys on. They're going to be somewhat of a long shot, everybody. But please like the show, share the show on your Facebook, on your on the YouTube channel. Like it, share it. This will be on YouTube Sports Scope, everybody. So thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. Have a good night, everybody. Now, I'll be back here around Thursday, 9 p.m. Central Time. You know what? I cannot believe. I hope that Giannis is this is not too bad, but he's hurt. The game is 2-2. Even without Giannis, or even when Giannis was in there, Atlanta was up by 12. Again, I doubled down on it. The Atlanta Hawks are like Freddy Krueger. You can never write them off. They keep coming back to you. Have a good night, everybody. I will see you Thursday around 9 p.m. Central Time here on Sports Scope.